All right, good morning, everybody. Let's get the call going this morning. Appreciate everybody jumping on this morning. Got some good stuff lined up today. Small schedule change, but I'll get to that here in a second. But appreciate you all joining us this morning. Let's get to the leaderboards. Get this started here. We had on our leaderboards, Greg Shapiro had one application, $1,605, direct to myself. We had Miss Donna Bates, 4 applications, $2,181, direct to Spencer Cushion. We had Jennifer Baker with 2 applications, $2,610, direct to Brett Applin. Miss Stella Dinwiddie, 4 applications, $2,849, direct to myself. Mr. John Paul Vetter, 8 applications. He actually led us in app count this week. So 8 applications, $3,524, direct to myself. Sandy Savine had 3 applications. Sorry, we kind of got the marked over there. 3 applications, $3,722, direct to Spencer Cushion. We had Mr. Spencer himself with 4 applications, $4,326, direct to myself. We had a new rider this week. A new rider was actually in the number 2 slot, and Mr. Brendan Heisler had 2 applications for $4,800, direct to Miss Julia Pappas. So congratulations, new rider. Congratulations, number 2 on the team for production this week. So good job, Brendan. Way to start off your business. So. And then we had the number 1 rider for the week, Mr. Jeremiah Nolan, 7 applications, $5,667, direct to myself, leading from the front. Congratulations, Mr. Nolan, for number 1 rider for the week. Great week, everybody. One of the things I wanted to know, we had a little bit of schedule change. We had on our announcement, John Hancock was going to be on this morning. Last minute scheduling snafu, they will not be on. We're going to reschedule them here in the next week or 2, but we'll get they've got some new things, some new updates and improvements to the product, so we're excited about getting them back on and talking a little bit about how they can improve your business and your opportunities. So we'll address that when we get a chance to reschedule Audrey. I'm going to take just a brief moment and talk about the time that she would have been talking. I'm going to talk about something here that actually I should have probably led with. Well, I guess we didn't have a call last week, so this is the perfect timing to have this. So December, guys, holiday selling. December has been historically a very good month for us company-wide. I mean, you see some really significant numbers, and the reason I bring that up is because there's too many people that have the holiday mindset, especially in the insurance industry, that December is the month that you knock off. You pretty much just kick back, kick your feet up, relax, and basically take the entire month off. And that, guys, is not productive thinking. In fact, that's very backwards. And again, this is the month where we see a lot of business written, even up to and including the week of Christmas. So the reason I want to highlight this is you got to be very disciplined, very intentional going throughout this month, and make sure that you're getting your schedule, get your scheduling done properly. You have to be highly intentional. So want to bring a couple things to your attention. Christmas and Christmas Eve are on Tuesday, Wednesday this year. So that means schedule-wise, guys, I would be the next couple weeks really packing these weeks heavy. I mean, I'd be running more appointments. Normally we run a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for some of you. I'd be running maybe an extra day or 2, Thursday, Friday even. Maybe if you don't want to do that, maybe run a Monday, Tuesday, and run some appointments on a Sunday. Regardless, guys, you have to be very intentional about this month. And I see it every year. Unfortunately, is we have people that kind of they sit back. They think they'll just figure it out on the fly. They think they're going to run business like they normally run it, and then they're out of business come January because not only is Christmas on Tuesday and Wednesday of this year, but so is New Year's and New Year's Eve. So guess what that's going to do for the following week? So you can't just think, well, I'll coast through the week of Christmas and I'll pick it up the week after. Same thing's going to happen, guys. So basically, you have 2 weeks where you have to be on the ball on your schedule and make sure that you are planning for these holidays. So again, we have people go out that even on Christmas Eve. Man, I've seen some huge numbers coming in on Christmas Eve because people are around. They're sitting there. They've got the day off. They're sitting around, and if they don't have family events planned, hey, they're willing to meet, especially this time of the year. It's time to get the stuff done. End of the year, and take care of getting your getting your financial planning in place for the end of the year. So be smart or be out of business. That's my message to you this morning. Be very intentional during this month, rolling into January, and you'll be very happy with the results. And you also put yourself in a position where you and your personal Christmas and your family will have a great year. But that all comes down to making sure that we're putting our planning in place, and over the next couple of weeks that you're really you're being highly intentional about your schedule. So.
Yeah, Chris, can I add something to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so to Chris's point, what you're going to find is December is going to be what you make it. If you think that it's going to be a kind of a lay down month and you're going to kind of coast through, to Chris's point, guess what's going to happen? Exactly that, right? So what you're going to find though in December is you're going to find availability to run more appointments during the day with folks that you would have otherwise had to run in the evening, because you're going to have people off, taking that entire week off of Christmas or burning PTO at the end of the year, and such like that, because they have to use it or lose it. So you're going to have folks that are literally, that would be working a corporate job or, on shift work that may be off during a Tuesday at noon that you can run an appointment with that might have had to normally see you in the evening or not be as available because of their schedule. So keep that in mind and book accordingly. But to Chris's point, you have to get an early start to this and be on this now, because Christmas is going to creep up on you quicker than you know. And to his point, it's right in the middle of the week, and you're going to have folks that are going to wait, and they're going to get caught behind the 8 ball. December is not an off month, to Chris's point. It's typically a very good month for this business. And while he was talking, I actually pulled up Opt and looked at my leaderboards for myself for last December, and I was gone for the last week. I was actually here only for 3 weeks, and I wrote $20,000. 19,758 is what I wrote last December. So that's real numbers, right? But you got to front load that. That was in the first 3 weeks of the month, because I knew I was going to be out of pocket for the last week. So the point is, you can still write whatever you need to do if you're intentional and focused with your efforts.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm going to echo. My best month I've had at Symmetry was $36,000 some odd dollars, and it was in December of 17. I wrote like 18,000 on the day after Christmas. So yeah, the main thing is just to be intentional. We want you to enjoy some time with your family during the holidays, but how much better can you enjoy that time with money in the pocket, and not stressing over the fact that you're not working and next week's going to be harder. So just really be intentional about it. That's the thing. But yeah, my best month was in December, and so let's make it happen.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's great. And you hear from two of the top performers on the team echoing that. So again, that's just it's your business, it's your plan, it's your schedule. So make of it what you will. But this is this is a month, excuse me, where you can do a ton of business. It's going to be up to you to make sure that you plan your schedule right. So just be forewarned. I was listening last night to an audio book by Brian Tracy called "No Excuses: The Power of Self-Discipline," and
one of my favorites.
Yeah, there you go. And I think I've listened to part of it before, but I'm going to go through the whole thing this time. But he made a point, and this was in just the introduction. I thought this was fantastic. He was talking about the difference between top performers and people that are at the bottom of the heap, so to speak. He says they both have to do mundane things. In fact, they both dislike the mundane things just as much. The top performers, however, are going to be consistent and go ahead and do those mundane things, and that's what makes them top performers. It's not that, you know, these at the top of the leaderboards that they just absolutely love calling and that's why they're successful, you know, or they love appointment setting, or they love traveling, you know, 3 counties around, driving all day, you know, and getting ports and all that. It's not that they love that stuff anymore, and that's why they're able to overcome and be successful. It's the fact that they just go do it, you know, and that's the biggest thing that's missed in this business. And when I look at you know, folks that say, oh, gosh, I wish I could be better, I wish I could do better, I wish I could be on the leaderboards, I wish I could just make more money for myself. At the end of the day, it comes down to it's the difference between doing it and not doing it. And it's that simple. I mean, you know, I could sit here and try to train you on you know, all kinds of techniques and this and that, but at the end of the day, I'll take somebody that just goes out and does it over somebody that knows all the scripts forward and backwards, word for word. So kind of piggyback off that being intentional for holiday selling, I talked with John Paul and asked him to come on and share just a little bit about it, because we're rolling in, obviously, you know, coming up on the end of the year, rolling into New Year, and New Year's a time where everybody kind of refocuses, start looking ahead at you know, 2020. What do I want to achieve? What do I want my goals to be? And so have John Paul jump on here a little bit and talk about goal setting and how to really set yourself up and your business up rolling into the new year. So, Mr. Better, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure, thank you. I appreciate it again, Chris. So goal setting is one of the most fundamentally sound and one of the most important things that you can do for yourself in anything that you do. Some of the most successful people in any industry or any career path that they've chosen write their goals down and hold themselves accountable to it. I've done that since I was probably still in high school. I was still a teenager. And I still remember writing goals down of what I wanted to accomplish. Because to me, you can have ideas in your head about what you want to do and conceptualize success and what that might be. But there's nothing quite like writing that down and then holding yourself accountable to those goals in a timeline of when you want to accomplish those, and then being able to check those things off as you accomplish them. So what I want to make sure that everybody on the call understands on this team is just how important that is. And some of you probably already do that. And regardless of what your success has been so far here, if you're new or if you're a top producer or you are a rock star at your previous company in your past life, I would venture to say, and I would probably bet lunch, that you're a goal setter. You set those and you write them down, you print those off, or you write them and they're visible to you on a regular basis, or whatever your objective is. Maybe that objective is to buy a specific car or dream home or vacation to go wherever it is you want to go. Then you've got those visible reminders and those visual reminders to you of what you want to accomplish. So every day, to Chris's point, when you get into those mundane activities that you might not really want to do, but you have to do, the fundamental blocking and tackling of your business, you see those reminders. Now, and that might be your family. Pictures in my office specifically, with an eye shot of me right here, I can see a picture of my family. I can see a picture of a 2019 Corvette ZR1. I can see a picture of Athens, Greece over there. And I've got a picture of a map of the United States with color-coded map pins of my team and how my agency is growing. And those are just a few of those things. And on my screensaver on my computer, I have another Corvette racing car. Those that don't know me, I'm into cars and guns. Those are my two things, right? So, and so those things are visual reminders. That's it, right? Visual reminders of things that are important to me, that I want to accomplish, that I want to provide for my family. And it starts with the closest picture to me, which is my family, right here, just off camera. And so that's what I mean, having those visual reminders. And maybe your objective is to get a cool Jeep, a lifted Jeep with big tires on it. Well, go on the internet and do a search and find the coolest looking off-road Jeep that you like and print a picture of it. Make it your screensaver in your computer or print it out. Maybe it is like last year when American Amicable announced that they were going to Athens, Greece. I immediately printed off their picture on the qualification for the trip, and that's been on my cork board ever since. They're going to Buenos Aires, Argentina next year. Maybe that's what you want to accomplish, and you want to go somewhere, or Costa Rica with symmetry, whatever those things are. Don't be afraid to print those things off and put them where you can see them, and tell people that are close to you what your goals and objectives are. And the reason why you do that is because you want to speak this into existence. You want to put it out there into the world, because now you're accountable to yourself and others, because you've committed yourself of these things you want to do. I've done that my entire life, and every single thing that I said that I wanted to accomplish, or I wanted to acquire, or places I wanted to go, cars that I wanted to have, things I want to do with my family, I've done almost every single one of them. But you've got to be intentional in that, right? So the point I'm making is this. We're here at the end of 2019, and your focus should be first and foremost finishing the month of December in 2019 strong, so you can go into the holidays with your family financially strong, and to make sure that you're continuing to build your skill set and your foundation in this business. And you've got a few weeks to still do that. Keep the gas on all the way through the finish line. That momentum that you push this month is going to carry you into January. And how you do anything is how you do everything. Finish the month strong, and that will carry you into January strong to set you up, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if you don't. And those on the call that don't follow this, I guarantee you might not admit it to anyone, but you're going to sit and look in the mirror, and you're going to remember that I said this. If you don't turn the gas on now, December is going to slip away from you. And you may think that you're going to be able to pick it up in January. Oh, I'll come back in January. But by the time the dust settles and everybody getting back to work in January and things happen after New Year's, guess what? You're in the second week of January already. And what's going to happen, now you're going to try to turn the machine back on. And you're going to take some time to build your momentum in your pipeline, in your appointments, in your activities, whatever those are. And you're going to find yourself midway in the second or third week of January trying to make a month out of 2 weeks. That's what's going to happen. I've seen it happen many, many times in the past. But the way you avoid that happening is to be able to start the momentum now. Mash the gas now, and that will carry you into not only having a solid December and finishing 2019 well, but giving you the momentum to go into January. And I guarantee if you start off January well, that's going to set the tempo, set the tone, and the pace for your 2020. And that's going to set the foundation for what you're able to accomplish for the next year. So goal setting and commitments. Sit down and take some time to genuinely think about what it is you want to do in your life with this business. This opportunity is unlike anything I've ever seen in my professional career. You can do anything you want with this business. If your objective is to make agency owner by the end of this next year, write that down. Contact your people, your upline, talk with them, and find out what it is that you want to do. Talk to them about what your objectives are, commit to that, write it down, and come up with a timeline of when you want to accomplish those in Q1, Q2. Get a copy of the promotion guidelines and levels of leadership and map that out. If you don't understand some of the verbiage in there and terminology, talk with your upline or your agency owner so that you can be able to understand what those mean, to give true context and a realistic approach to what those goals are, okay? Also, make sure that you're writing those things down. I'm not sure what we got going on the screen. We got folks playing Masked Man over here. So sorry about that. Some distractions on the screen. I thought someone was trying to get my attention. But write those things down as to what you want to accomplish in 2020. Income goals, objectives for your life, your family, your business. Write down exactly what you want to, maybe that's just to write X amount of production for the year. Maybe it is for the first half of the year you want to write production and then start working your way into building a team and key leader. And then ultimately maybe agency owner. Everyone's got to follow their own path here of what they want to accomplish. And your dreams and your goals are exactly that. They're yours. And we want you to fulfill those to whatever extent that definition is to you, right? So what we want you to do is write those things down and be grand in what your objectives are. Have stretch goals and put some things out there of what you want to accomplish, and don't be afraid to dream, because the only person that's going to keep you from obtaining those goals and meeting those objectives is yourself, period. So whatever it is you want to do, we want to lay that out and make a commitment and write those things down and print those off to where you can see them. And as the year progresses, you're able to check those things off and make sure you touch base with your upline so that you are able to have an accountability partner as to what you want to accomplish. So as you're talking with those individuals, they can help keep you focused and aligned as to what you want to accomplish with your goals for the year, so that way your focus and your diligence every single day is towards accomplishing those stepping stones to build on those goals. Because you can start off with an annual goal, but you've got to look at what that monthly goal breaks down to. And then each week and ultimately each day of what you want to accomplish. Is it number of recruits, number of zip ads? Is it number of applications or appointments set? So you can come full picture of what you want to accomplish for 2020. And I hope everyone on this call heeds that advice and takes the time to write those things down. Commit to yourself first and foremost, and then work with your mentor so that way you can be able to, they can be able to assist you in accomplishing your goals. And maybe that's just to make $5,000 a month, whatever that is for you. It's fine. Maybe you're still part-time. Maybe you're trying to transition out of your current role because you work somewhere else. Maybe that's your goal. Your transition strategy is your goal over the next 6 to 9 months. Whatever that is for you, write it down, commit to it, and work with your mentor on how you can accomplish that goal or goals for the year. I've already done it. Mine are written down. They're already pasted up on my cork board. I've already shared mine with Chris as to what I'm going to do or what my objectives are for this next year. And I don't mind telling everybody on the call, first and foremost, my objective is to break out at least one, probably 2 AOs under me. The first of which is Brett Applin, who's already starting his run for AO in my organization. He's already key leader to help those folks get to that point to break out as AOs, which will push me to regional agency director with 2, and for me to be on my run to 110 by the end of 2020, 110%. I've already talked to Chris about that. He knows that. It's written. It's on my corkboard right there next to me. Don't think I'm not going to do it. Bet against me. But the thing is, you got to believe it yourself before you can achieve it. And it starts with writing it down. So don't overlook something insignificant and think, I don't have to write it down. There's power in putting those objectives and those words on paper with pen and having it where you can see it. Because you've also got to speak it into existence every single day with your actions. Because it's not going to happen if you don't follow a guideline of what you want to accomplish for the year and break that down to every single day. Even when you feel like you don't want to do things, you've got to do those. Like Chris had said, some of the mundane things that we don't want to do on a regular basis, you've got to do those every single day. So that's really the whole point of goal setting and the importance of doing that. So I highly encourage everybody on the call to do that and share that with your mentor. Write it down. And then I think, honestly, Chris, I think maybe next week on our call, and I haven't talked to you about this, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of springing it, but I'm just thinking about following up with this conversation of goal setting. I think it'd be a good idea for everybody on the call to come up with what their goals are for this next year, and on our call next week, do a round robin and have folks share what those are, what they would like to accomplish in this business, what they'd like to accomplish with their family. Maybe they want to buy a house or a car, whatever those things are, whatever it means to them, and just take a quick 30, 60 seconds. Maybe if we have time, I don't know what the agenda is for next week, but have folks speak it into existence with folks on this call and share what those goals are, so we all kind of, see the sights and sounds of what people's dreams are, and because we're all rowing in the same direction, right? And I think that would be a good opportunity for us to share that. I don't know what you feel about that, Chris.
No, I think that would be a great idea. So as you guys go out throughout the week, write down those goals, and we're not going to obviously just require everybody to share, but for those who do want to, I mean, hey,
Sure.
like I said, it's definitely an opportunity. And, you know, the other side of that goal setting, you know, it's interesting. I had a conversation here several months back. I've got a friend that's an executive with State Farm Insurance, and we were talking about, we were actually coming up to a conference, and I made a comment about, man, you know, it's puzzling to me why some people won't make a commitment to go to an event that's going to have such an impact on their lives and their business. And he made a comment. It's funny. He's in an entirely different business model, but he hit the nail on the head. He said, you know what? It's people who aren't willing to face up to the fact that the information that they're going to get there, they're not going to have the resolve or the determination to put that into action, into their business or into their lives. And the same thing happens with goal setting. We have too many people who are afraid to put goals down on paper because now it's going to be something they're going to have to live up to in either activity or personal development or personal growth. And so instead of doing that, instead of putting the goals down, we just kind of say, well, I want to, you know, my goal for this year is I want to make $200,000. But we say it, we don't be intentional about it. We don't put it down. We don't broadcast it out to the world. In fact, a lot of times we just say that in our head, and it's more like a wish. You know, it's more like a wish or fairy dust that we just want to say it and poof, it happens. You know, and you know, this, to your point, John Paul, you got to make the goal, you got to make the commitment, and put yourself out there, you know, and really, you know, back yourself into a corner. And I think too many times people are afraid to do that because they realize they're going to have to face up to their own lack of activity, lack of personal growth and development. You know, all these things can be overcome if you're willing to get the goal down, and we'll help you get there.
Yeah, and I want to share one other thing on that point, because as you brought that up, and we talk about you know, speaking it into existence and sharing it with folks around you, I'll put myself out there. A couple of months ago, I was on this call, and I told everybody my objective over the last 2 months was to make a run for elite producer. Those of you that were on those calls, you heard me say that. In month before last, I wrote $47,000 on the way to get there. Last month, for various reasons, fell short. I only wrote $34,000 last month. So I didn't make my run for elite producer over the last 2 months. I'll have to reload and pick it up and do it again in another set of 2 months. But I put it out there to everybody because that's what my focus was, to accomplish that for myself in my journey here at Symmetry. And sure, did I fall short of getting elite producer? Yep. But 47,000 and 34,000 back to back at 90% commission doesn't suck. So let's be clear about that. Okay.
I want to add real quick, John Paul. First of all, and there's nobody don't think you're going to meet your goals next. So you ain't got to challenge us on that. We got that. But I love this because I looked down at the topic of the call and I wanted to share some practical things and something that I'm still working for. If you're new or not, and if you've not picked up an ASAP planner, that should be your Christmas gift. Get on the company store and order it today. Put expedited shipping on it, because in this planner, I mean, not only can you write down your income goals and then basically break it down to know exactly what you need to do. You know, it's got the carrier contacts in there. I mean, this planner was designed by us for us. Okay, so get out there and get it. I personally, just to be honest, I don't use this as much anymore because I use the dollar. I use that. I kind of know the numbers already. You know, I got that down. So what I did, though, it kept popping up. I ordered the Zig Ziglar Performance Planner. Okay, it's a personal management and goals achievement system, because I still need help in that area, right? I still need to continue to grow, and this planner kind of, I need a plan. I need a system. I just need somebody to show me what to do, and I'll do it. You know, coming up with the stuff is a little bit more difficult, but it's got this all in here. And if you don't mind, I'm going to take 2 seconds and I want to read this, because in the very front of the book, talking about speaking it to his existence, it's a personal commitment that you sign. Okay. and you're talking about speaking it. This is where it is. So I want to read this to you guys. I, Jeremiah Nolan, am serious about setting and reaching my goals in life. So on this date, 12/6/2019, I promise myself I will follow these suggestions in setting and reaching my goals. I'm willing to forego temporary pleasures for the pursuit of happiness and to strive for excellence in my goal-seeking efforts. I'm willing to discipline my physical and emotional appetites to reach the long-range goals of happiness and accomplishment. I recognize that to reach my goals, I must grow personally and have the right mental attitude. So I promise to specifically increase my knowledge in my chosen field and regularly read positive growth books and magazines. I will also attend lectures and seminars, take courses in personal growth and development, and utilize my time more effectively by listening to motivational and educational recordings. I will keep a list of these activities, including my completion dates for each project in my performance planner. Persistence and commitment are prerequisite to reaching any goals. So I promise myself that I'm going to faithfully work on my goals every day. Progress must be charted, so I commit myself to record my daily activities every day to keep track of where I am and the direction I'm heading on the way to the top. And then in this planner, I'm not promoting this planner. Maybe you don't need this. I know I do. I mean, it's got it like broken down step by step on how to chart your goals, your dream list, things I want to be, do, or have. I mean, it's got it all in here. And that's kind of why I wanted it, because I'm not the best at tracking everything, you know. At this point in my career, like I said, I know the numbers, I know the activity that I have to do to get the results that I want, but I need to continue to grow myself and also continue to reach those goals. So I needed something to help me be very tangible that I can put my hands on and just follow the course. So I suggest you guys get the planner, something like this that can help you, you know, kind of chart your way, because, you know, it's good to write it down. Like I think of gosh, 10X, Cardone. He talks about he has a notepad and a pen by his nightstand, and every night he writes down his goals. Every morning he rewrites his goals. You know, so if we just put our goals and we speak them out and then we set them over in the drawer, you know, I mean, you know, it's gotta be in front of you every day, every moment. So John Paul, you killed it. I'm not trying to steal anything. It was so unique that you were talking about that. I looked next to me and this was there. So I wanted to kind of bring it up.
No, absolutely, Jeremiah. And that's all great information. And my point and folks that are you know, on the team, I'm very passionate about what I do because I believe in what we do, and I focus that passion and energy on my goals and my objectives of what I want to accomplish in my life. So my point in sharing with you and what Jeremiah shared with you is that some of the top folks on this team do exactly what we're mentioning to you, or what we're recommending for you to do as far as these goal settings and following that blueprint and guideline. This is not just hyperbole that we're throwing into the wind and just making a random suggestion. This is stuff that we do, we live by, and we follow it every single day. And it's a lighthouse for our life and our focus and our dreams, and it works. And sometimes you don't always accomplish your goals exactly to what you want to do, but you've got to have that, and you'll come much closer to accomplishing those goals by setting these in place on a regular basis. If you don't have goals and write them down, and to Jeremiah's point, make that commitment and have that every single day, then you're going to continue to wander off path. So think about an objective. If you want to have one destination and you start here, as you're going, if you're just slightly off direction at the beginning, you're still not that far off course. You can course correct and come back on course. But if you go and keep that same 1 degree of offset in your direction, by the time if you stay on that same course, you'll be so far off from your goal by the time you get there in your timeline, you won't be near your objective. So you've got to be able to do constant tweaks and course corrections and self-reflection so that you're able to stay on course. And these are things that we do every single day. I've done these things for over 30, 35 years personally. I know Chris does them. I know Jeremiah does them. And it will help you in this business profoundly is the point we're trying to make.
Yeah. Like I heard it on a call recently. If you want what Marshall, Jacob, Pritchett, if you want what those guys have, you got to do what they do. It's that simple, and that's what this is what they do. They go, they journal, they read, they grow themselves, they do all the things if you don't want they have, then don't do it. But if if that's what you want, then you just have to do what they do. And that's what this, kind of boils down to. So I'll shut up, Chris. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you guys. No, that was a great input there, and I think to summarize, like you said, Jeremiah and John Paul both said. I mean, the top performers, this is what they do to have the success that they have, and really kind of coming full circle. Going back to Brian Tracy's book. The top performers face all the exact same challenges, have to go through the same mundane daily task. Difference is they do it consistently. And you can be consistent through goal setting, because goals put into a picture format of what's going to have to happen to get where you want to go. Here's the journey. I love the fact that, Jeremiah reminded us about the ASAP planner. Guys, it's got it all in there. How many dials, how many contacts, how many recruiting, if you want to build an agency. I mean, it's all laid out in there. And really, one of a sales training I went through years ago, I believe Lee DuBois was his name. He talked about, in sales, a lot of times we look at the results and we say, well, if I didn't write my 5,000 for this week, or I didn't do this particular thing, then that we look at that as a failure. And he made a point that if you every day, he said, if you go through every day and you hit your objectives on activity, so you say, oh, this day I'm going to do this many calls, and I'm going to make this many contacts, and I'm going to go through this process. He said, if you have done that, at the end of the day, go lay down, go to sleep, content and happy that you have achieved what you need to achieve that day. Because if you do that every day, you put in the activity, the results will come. And too many times, again, I've heard Scott Mank say this several times, you can have a bad week, just don't have a bad month. And what all happens, I mean, there are times where, I've had some monster weeks set up on appointments and got blanked. It's like, well, how did that happen? Well, it happens. I don't know. The insurance gods were mad at me for some reason. I don't know, but it happens. And then the following week, I could feel like, man, I set a bunch of appointments, but I'm not feeling good about any of them. I have a feeling most of them are going to force me no show, whatever. And then you go out and write 10 grand. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason, guys, to why we feel good about a particular week, a particular day, and then other days we're thinking that things are going to fall apart, and then the opposite happens. The point of that is just that consistency of the activity. So ASAP Planner is going to be one of those things that if you if you're filling that out and you're checking off all the activities for that particular day, at the end of the day, if you've done everything that you need to do based on the activities, guys, close your books, go sit back, drink hot tea, coffee, whatever, and relax for the evening. You've accomplished your activity for the day. And that's what having something like a planner like that will be very beneficial for you in keeping up with those goals. Again, don't get hung up. If you've got a lofty goal, it's the old proverb, journey of 1,000 miles, start with one step. And you got to start taking those steps. So we're going to move on, guys, and try to get the call wrapped up a little bit early this morning. I'm going to hit a quick light training. I was talking with Stella here a day or two ago, and we had a great conversation. I wanted to go ahead and share this with the team as a whole. And we've talked about this before, but I think one of the things that is a little bit of a trap in the type of business model that we have, we are brokers, guys. We're independent brokers. We've got several different companies that we work for. The problem is sometimes and I see this happen a lot with new people, and really people have been around for a while. We kind of get in this mindset that we've got to sell the cheapest thing. It's always got to be about price. I just got to look at every company and I got to come up with the cheapest price. Guys, price is only a factor or consideration in the absence of value. Okay? We have to sell on value. If you sell on price, you will get beat every time. And I don't care if you go in with the cheapest price that you can find from all of our carriers, somebody will eventually come along and undercut you. So never sell on price, and don't try to fill your client's needs based on price, because I use the example, if I need to get eye surgery, am I going to go out and I'm going to find the absolute bottom dollar, rock bottom, cheapest price that I can find? That's not going to be my criteria. Now, there's some people out there that will do that, and they probably are going to, have trouble with the rest of their life being able to see. But I'm going to look for the best doctor to work on my eyes because my vision's important. Okay. And yeah, I'm going to look for, I'm not going to pay an exorbitant price, but I'm also not going to go with the cheapest. I'm going to look for the best value. Who is somebody that everybody says this doctor is really good? And I can figure out a way to pay his price because it's not astronomical. Okay. So there's the balance. Value. And yeah, I'm going to figure out a way to pay for it because I get good reviews and I get a good feeling about this guy. Okay. So think about this. With the carriers that we have, don't get hung up in price shopping, because you have to sell on value. And one of the things that I see too many times, again, especially with new people, is they get this mindset that I'm going to get the cheapest price, and they ask for, well, I hear this carrier, can you give me a pointer with this carrier? Because I hear they got really cheap rates. Problem is, guys, sometimes, especially, some of these carriers that have the really cheap rates, their processes are much more difficult. They're much more time consuming. They're going to cause you a lot of problems as an agent. And one of the things that I want you to keep in mind is, yeah, we want to do right by our client and get them, the best price we possibly can. But more importantly, we want to get them the best value. But you also have to keep in mind that part of this value proposition is you, because you're their agent. You're the person that takes care of them. You're the person that they need to call and contact if something goes wrong, if they have to file a death claim or a critical illness or injury claim. You are their advocate, guys. And if you're not in business, that doesn't help that client. So part of this equation, and I want you to let yourselves off the hook here in this idea that I've got to find the cheapest thing no matter what, because we obviously we don't want to be selling based on what's going to pay us the most commission. That's not the point. But we do want to be selling on a number of different factors. One of those is, who's the easy company for you to work with? Who's going to process that business quickly? Who's going to give you the least resistance in underwriting and get that business approved so we can get that client covered immediately, as quickly as possible, and get their coverage in place? And guys, here's what you do. And some of you are hung up. I think some of us, especially if you grew up poor or struggled financially, our mindset is we project that out. Well, it's got to be the cheapest thing. Because nobody's going to pay any more than they absolutely have to. Guys, people, if you get around people who have wealth and have means and have the ability to pay for stuff, they don't pay attention to price. They pay attention to value. Okay, so you've got to flush that out of your system, and you got to realize when you're having those conversations with the clients. And I'll do that. I'll tell a client straight up when I walk in, when we're starting to talk about transitioning from the rapport building into, here's what I do, here's my role. I will tell people up front, and this is what I call an upfront contract. I don't say those words. I don't say upfront contract to the client, but this is what I'm doing. I'm establishing verbally with them what I'm going to do for them as their agent. I say, look, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I'll be honest with you. I'm a broker. I could sell you the cheapest thing, but I'm not going to sell you the cheapest thing. And I tell them up front. And sometimes people are a little taken back with it, but I follow up and I say, well, let me ask you this. Are you the kind of person who, when you go out and buy something, you buy the absolute dirt cheap, most bottom line price of anything that you buy? Now, guys, 80% of the people are going to say, well, no, absolutely not, because you get what you pay for. people recognize that. Once you put it in those terms, or you're the kind of person that buys the bottom dollar no matter what, nobody does that. I mean, again, we look for the value because we know if we buy the cheapest, if you go out and buy the cheapest possible car that you can buy, even brand new, guys, you're going to get a econo box with crank windows, maybe AC if you're lucky, and it's going to be cramped. We don't do that. None of us do that. We go out and we look for the most bells and whistles that we can get in the price point and the monthly payment that we're trying to get. So when we're having those conversations with the clients, we've got to have that conversation with them. Look, I'm a broker. I can't sell you the cheapest thing. I'm not going to, because that's not ethical. I've got to do what's right for you as the client. Find the best products with the best riders, with the best benefits, with the best company. And that's another factor, guys. We got to keep in mind, we've got some great companies. John Paul, I know probably 80% of your business goes through American Amicable. American Amicable, right. They're not the cheapest company out there, but they are a excellent company, guys. 100-plus-year-old company based out of Texas. A ratings, their products are solid, their claims are solid, they pay anytime anything happens, and they get the underwriting done quickly. Guys, those are all factors that go into that equation. Are there companies that can undercut them on price? Yeah, and we sell them. But again, if you sell only on price, eventually somebody will come in and beat you on price, because you've established in that client's mind that this is a price transaction. This is not a price transaction. This is a value transaction. Julia, did you have something to add?
I do. Thanks, Chris. And to your point, and I got it in late, don't do what I just did, but a final expense lead, 50-cent lead, I wrote just this week, a lady with MS, 65, American Amicable. Let me tell you, it turns out we're doing a replacement too. Okay, so here we go. Full picture, quick story. Had two policies, both Transamerica. One she's had for over 2 years, 3,000. I'm not touching it. Okay, you don't want to mess with anybody's being ethical and doing what's best for them. You don't want to mess with anything that they've had for over 2 years, 2 years or more. The clock starts all over again, and then you have to have all within suitability and legalities pertaining to our licensing and what are we doing is it in the best interest of the client? That and the fact that there's a lot of laws throughout every single state that protects the seniors. So here we are. She has another Transamerica. She just picked it up this year, March. It was issued, 7,000 and in excess of $63 and change a month in premiums. American Amicable, phenomenal. I was able to get her a graded benefit, which is no different than Transamerica, essentially, and it was giving her $10,000 worth of face value protection at $61 and some change a month. Even though it's $1 or $2, you want to talk about price shopping. There's sometimes the benefit in just going with a reputable, not to say that any of them are not reputable, but a stronger, financially stronger and sound company as American Amicable, getting through the underwriting processes as well. There's nothing that American Amicable can sometimes be considered the most expensive. Guess what? It wasn't in this case. She was getting more bang for her buck this way. So you can't even, getting back to Chris and John Paul's point, don't go with what you think is the cheapest as a broker, independent broker for these folks. Do what is the best for them. I think that sort of ties everything in, but to a specific situation that just happened this month or just this week on a 50-cent lead.
Yeah, and I just want to add one other point of clarity because that's a great point there. But as far as price is concerned, and because I write, at Chris's point, probably 80% of my business is with American Amicable. I constantly still check between American Amicable and, say, Mutual of Omaha on their term products, on the whole life products. And even that said, they're within a couple of dollars of each other typically. Sometimes Mutual of Omaha's a couple of dollars more, and sometimes American Amicable is a couple of dollars more, but they're always within a few dollars of each other. But to Chris's point, with American Amicable, this is not an endorsement for a specific company. I'm just saying what works well for me. The ease of underwriting, the simplicity of the e-app. The term products all include living benefits. They're part of the policy at no additional charge. You know, their rapid response and claims, and just for a lot of reasons, you know, they're a great option for a lot of the clients that I work with, and they have instant underwriting decision in the home on their final expense products. Even some of the term has instant underwriting approvals in the home and such. So it's not that vastly difference in price. It's not like they're exorbitantly expensive. But if they are more than another company, it may be a few dollars. And to Chris's point, that's easy enough to explain to a client and how to justify that cost difference in the value of the company for a few dollars. It's not like it's going to be $50 a month more for a comparable policy for the most part, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Very good. And keep in mind too, guys, again, for your sake, for your business, you know, what's going to be easiest for you to process, what's going to be the least amount of follow-up, because, you know, some of these companies, especially, you know, I'm thinking of, you know, a company that writes some really cheap term rates, but the follow-up time on that company is almost as bad as a fully underwritten policy. And they typically, their requirements for as far as medical records and some of the underwriting stuff, guys, that all impacts you and your business. So sometimes, a lot of times, it's just as beneficial to the client, even if they're paying a few dollars more a month, for them to get that decision very quickly, either same day or within 2 or 3 days, get the coverage in place and get them protected. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is about, is protecting that client and getting that coverage locked in as quickly as possible. Because, hey, you know, none of us have our expiration date stamped on our forehead. You know, I mean, you know, so we don't know. And there's been too many times, too many stories where, you know, we've called people and they, you know, either we've called and the person we talked to on the phone says, yeah, we just got back from the funeral, you know, or, you know, you know, we met, I mean, we have a couple of situations where we went and met with a client and then came back to, you know, to follow up. Well, I want to think about it. And we follow up, and in the time that they were thinking about it, they expired. So, you know, again, the importance of what we do and how impactful it is, and getting that, you know, getting that coverage locked in with the best company, the best value as quickly as possible. That is a factor there as well. So, guys, I'm going to wrap up the call here. Try to get done just a few minutes early so everybody can get out and jump on the phone, start setting appointments. Announcement we have, guys, do yourself a favor, buy yourself a Christmas present, get on the boat. Get on the boat. The cruise is coming up in April. Get signed up for it. Payment plans. Again, kind of going back to my point earlier, this is going to be a highly impactful event. If you are serious about being in business and you want to be successful in business, you're going to have to be on that boat. So hit the done button, get that done. That's the only announcement I'm going to make this morning as far as upcoming events. We'll have some stuff coming up, meetings and things at the beginning of the year. But for right now, just get on the ball, get that crew signed up, and join us for a very fun conference. Guys, appreciate you all. Have a great weekend of dialing. Let's set up a huge week next week, and let's go knock them down.